videos from its own multimedia department. Weekly views on the site have increased by a staggering 600% since launch, which I think is pretty incredible. The award for Best Video Journalism goes to the SundayTimes.co.uk. Please come and collect.
You know, online consumers nowadays, it's not just about text. We look for multimedia savvy users, look for visual cues, and the online generation, Generation Y, if you look at what they're watching, how they're consuming media, you know, the vast majority are going to online video. That's the biggest surge, and the slice of the market is the younger generation. So for me, certainly, it was the emphasis on the visual, because storytelling journalism is more than just text. It's an integration of audio, text, visuals, and I think that the Sunday Times has managed to marry all those elements together very effectively.
I just really want to extend my thanks to everyone here, and it's great to see that we've got an online media finally recognising online other than us being a second-class citizen. And yeah, well, cheers and thank you for the award.
I've got the Social Media Award, which we're particularly proud of because it's been a real labour of love for the last 2 years in TV, radio and online working together to create a social media offering to the public. Traditionally the BBC has been a one-way journey. We've given the public what we think is the news. What we're now able to do is respond to what people want to talk about, particularly during times of strife like the tube strikes. We're not a massive operation, but it's basically the dedication that people have in the office and outside the office using their mobile phones to Twitter information as they get it, reporters out on their stories, radio reporters out and about, and it gives that sense of ongoing 24-hour news, is which what we're trying to achieve.
We're only a small publisher based in Bath, so it's humbling to stand here alongside such giants in the media industry, and the recognition in this is fantastic, so thank you all very much.
We probably get as many visits in a month as some of these guys get in a day, so it is relative, but our audience is, we're probably about a third of the way to the maximum our audience can be in the space of 3 years. So we're looking at growth relative to our audience and relative to the size of the industry. We felt very strongly that we weren't going to compromise on our commercial principles with FoodBev. We weren't going to simply kowtow to advertisers that wanted to put advertising over the top of our content. And that's actually enabled us to strengthen the website over time. So it's grown year on year by 10% a year. And we're very proud of it, and this is sort of recognition of that.
You know, everything we write should go online. Not everything can then fit in the paper. I mean, it's a practical thing as much as anything. But also the styles are very different. You won't write the same way as you will write for the paper as you do for online. So I think, you know, journalists have got to become, and publishers have got to become nimble enough to realise that there are different skills required and harness those skills for each platform as best as possible. So the minute you publish something now, I tweet it, I'll put it on my own website, I'll put it on my journalist page, on the Telegraph website. It's just a lot of self-promotion. It's not like you get the story now, it goes in the paper and that's the end of it. You've got to chase it through and make sure you get as many readers as possible, and that's what digital, you know, enables you to do. It also enables you to have direct feedback from your readers, whether you want that or not, but straight away. And it's a real-time medium and you can update it all the time.
We've been very proactive, certainly at BBC London, with our social media strategy. Started in early 2009, so we got in there quite early. We realised very quickly the two-way conversation you could be having with your audience, communicating in a way that is probably the most intimate way online. Certainly Twitter is very much what we see as like a news information network rather than an actual social network necessarily. So for news it's been perfect for us. It's been great for our journalists to get case studies on TV. It's also been fantastic for our audience as well to engage with them and what they're thinking. They feel they can let us know about something that's happening and we can investigate it really quickly now and get back to the people really quickly. You're going to get updates all day, every day from BBC London.
Journalists used to be people that we'd sit in our ivory tower and kind of throw news out into the world, and people kind of gratefully receive it, and that was our interaction with the people. And now it's very much a two-way process. And out there in the world there are loads of readers and users who know more about a subject than we do. We want to involve them in the process, involve them in generating stories and helping to make the news.
This notion of online being a second-class citizen has to stop. It has to stop, because everyone keeps saying the future is online, the future is online. It is online, it isn't digital. That's not to say that print will die. I think the two can work together in different ways, you know, whether it be focusing and restructuring in newspapers in terms of you know, changing to editorial, like opinion focus or what have you, they can complement. But definitely the biggest driver nowadays is the digital sphere. And it's always really surprising that traditional media are still given that clout and the respect, and online isn't given that respect. And these awards, what I liked about them was the emphasis on the online. And I certainly hope that it grows much bigger than this, because it's necessary, and I think it will, because it's necessary.
I want this to become the big online media award ceremony of the entire world. There's no boundaries in this. That's why we went down the road of the international judges. That was a reflection, if you like. We discussed my colleagues who might participate, and I said, well, I have colleagues in Australia, and I have colleagues in Japan, and I have colleagues in Beijing. Why don't we have a genuine international look at all this? Now, they don't necessarily appreciate daily basis British media. They're not doing that on daily, but nonetheless, they're very sharp, intelligent people, and they're going to give you an outside view, which is extremely valuable.
I mean, obviously, we have the RTS Awards, we have the Sony Awards, and it's wonderful for the online community and for online at the BBC to get these awards, to recognise the hard work that we put in. We work very closely with our TV and radio colleagues, but we're finally getting recognised for what we achieve.
We work with a very limited budget. We have to develop a website around the user. And that limits what we can do. I mean, we just can't throw money at everything, so we have to make sure that every single piece of content is valuable to the end user, and we've simply put the user first in everything we've done for 3 years. And it's the same principle if you're a small company or a big company, and so we think this is a sort of a testimony to that.
So it's not just about the big boys. As I said, small is beautiful too, and I think that's what we're on about.
Absolutely, you must imagine like the first ever radio awards, the first ever TV BAFTAs. They all started, it's a smaller scale than it of course is now. Same thing's happening here. It's like the invention of any sort of new medium, if you like. It starts off small, but it grows and just becomes incredibly huge, and that's what the communication business is so incredibly huge now through online and through social media.
Delivering content, you've got to be conscious of what you're doing and what you're saying and what you're writing. You can't just ram it on a website page. You've got to be very professional in your approach, do a good job. You can't just put it on the page and hope it goes away,